pan our users.
How do you say
Yeah,
that?
because what's your role?
B-A-D-R-U-T-T.
B-A,
After that, it's okay. No.
here,
he's
just
not-
type your,
Well, yes, you have to add his name to the list, but he's not in
Yeah.
the black.
yeah, but,
So
okay,
he's
we're,
never gonna see this.
yeah, but we're
Guess
gonna have
what?
to add him here anyways, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well. So, B-A-D-R-U-T-T.
B-A-D-R-U-T-T.
T-T.
Okay, and what's your email?
AXB
AXB
1366.
1366?
Yeah, at Miami.edu.
And then, what's your email?
786 239 590. Yeah, just like it says cash. You want
Jesse, do me a favor and call on the internet and get them to give us some new
Go open it up.
batteries. Just the second one, just tell them that we're in 212 and we're out of batteries for the mic.
This is remove. You can't add a user.
Oh, no, yeah, search username. Oh, no, no, no.
No, we want to.
Find username symbol.
there.
What's your username?
Grab a drink.
We're in room
Oh.
317 and we're out of batteries for the microphone.
AX, what was it?
And tell them also that I'm having issues on to display what we see on the
Give me your
monitors.
case number.
Yeah, 1198.
Wait, oh no, that's not user.
Okay, that's good.
No
Okay.
clue. Here, what would the username be?
Find, look on the top for users. You see here, under users,
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, I don't know what to put.
add so add enrollment.
How's it going?
Yeah. Put your
Now,
trumpet.
add enrollment, here, go down. What are users?
I'm so
Go
excited.
back.
I was excited.
Okay, users, and then
No, I
find
do.
users to enroll.
Yeah, so I click.
You don't care.
Okay,
Not really.
and then here, browse, go to browse. Okay, then hold that down. You can go like this.
Alright, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Your
It's so
license.
sad. I didn't get to, like, I got to see him, but I didn't get, like, this. But he did wait. And I was like, oh my
Alright.
god. So his cameraman is amazing.
Did you get him in?
Yeah.
Did you promote him to instructor?
He's a beard.
Yeah. Was this him?
Yeah, so you have to promote him.
Change users role and course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
See, everything's easy when you know
Yeah.
That's true.
it. Now you do, right?
So he might
Alright,
be
perfect.
Right? Did you, because
Oh,
when
yeah.
you were promoting, okay?
So,
Okay, folks, welcome back. Questions before we begin?
Underneath.
Do a couple of things here.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna do a quiz.
Excuse me?
You can keep your laptop. Be open, it'll be open, excellent. And if you, I suggest if we don't do well on this, it's time to, take one each. So they said they're
Do you
coming.
have any younger siblings?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm signing my sister to this program from Parent United.
Let's see if this is working.
And it's like a summer program. Look up Parent United diversity program.
You can take, you can give yourself in the,
It's really good.
okay, so today is
I
what?
can send you a link.
The 5th, so it's Monday, January January
It's
5.
February.
Oh, February, thank you. Wow, yes. Can you be so kind? Yeah. And put one in for me. Wow. February. Wow. I'm in January. February 5th, 2018. Okay. So the first thing we'll do is this. Everybody have the sheet of paper?
He already
I
did
want
it.
you to fold it
He already
like
did it.
this. Like you were gonna write, you were gonna be old fashioned, like you're gonna write your mother a letter. Old fashioned way. Anybody ever write in an envelope? So we're gonna fold it in thirds. This way. This way. And then what I want you to do, we're gonna pass it around
It's a pre-con.
with this marker. I'm gonna make myself a name tag. So I'll put
So like for this,
here,
son,
This is
yeah,
Dr.
he's-
Rush.
like he leaves.
this
like,
side,
he graduates
and
in
also
May.
this side.
They start summer camp. Like the next week after.
where's the name?
And then you'll make
So
yourself
Humboldt-
name
it's like
tags.
Humboldt
I'm gonna
State,
be
South
putting
Carolina.
mine right over here. Thank you so much. Did you check to see if it works?
Yeah, I'm going to. I just want to take the
Okay, so I'm gonna be putting it here. You'll be putting it in your front, and every time you'll be
Great about that.
bringing it to class, okay?
What did you
So
do?
if we have issues with that, we're not gonna stay in class, right? Okay, all right, so Ally has it first. We'll, begin. Thank you, and just put in the red, and especially any of those. You can give me extra of the,
Basically, it's
it working?
ACT twice. I don't know if it is. Yeah, unless
so we
you
gotta
have
mute
less
the
than
wireless.
twice. That's a lot
Unmute.
of things.
I think it's
Oh, perfect.
this one.
And he's just
Okay.
like broadcast. Can't tell us what shit.
Yeah, this is one extra for that.
The ACT.
Yeah, perfect. So you put it down there?
No, we can't.
Okay, and wait till that goes around. And Ally, can you be so kind and make a roll? Get a sheet of paper from someone and put,
Oh, can I
You're
have another yellow one?
sure, you sure can. Have a couple in case new people come in. Okay, we can leave it on the front, okay.
So can I get another one?
really hard public school.
Thank you.
And then we'll wait till the marker goes around, so you can have the marker.
Do you need our reason work study or just name and for this time?
Put your name,
He's like out of court.
put yourself as number
That shit
one,
was like,
This
take a couple. Put your name,
do a little bit.
email, and phone, okay?
3 out of 4.
All right, so what do I need to do? First, the things I need to do is I have to start my broadcast. A couple of people have contacted me, they're not available. So there's a couple of things that we're gonna do each time. And that is, we're gonna broadcast, we're gonna put the links on for each time. And also, you need to check with your group of what's responsible. So where am I gonna go? I'm gonna go to Creator Studio. I'm going to live streaming. I'm gonna go to events. I'm gonna go to the end of the events and of upcoming. And I see today, so I'm gonna start the Google Hangouts on air. Jessica, can you check what is this filming here? What is this saying here?
You on the screen.
Okay, is it seeing this board? Is it seeing the very top? Can you see
Yeah,
January?
it says Monday.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to start the broadcast. Okay. I'm going to share my screen, share, and I'm going to minimize.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you didn't get a yellow sheet, come pick it up over here. And we'll continue. So did you start a sheet?
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Okay, what are we going to cover today? We'll review your homeworks. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is something called peer-to-peer versus centralization. We're going to be talking about security, computer, and info security. We'll also talk about ATS, which stands for Automated Trading Systems. Well, yeah. I'll give you my phone to them right now. So Allie and Alex, can you do me a favor? Just take your phones, like I talked about.
Okay.
Yeah, Allie and Alex. So just talk to them. Just lots of. Right, hold on. Just talk to them. Okay, ATS. And the fourth one is blockchain. Okay, okay? So where's my marker going around? Okay, so in terms of the marker, then make it on both sides. Why do I want it on both sides? So the people from behind you can see it as well, okay? And bring it to class. So Lexi, this is yours. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about blockchain with applications. And we'll talk about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Is that enough? And we'll see whether I've invited someone to join us as a guest speaker. We'll see if they show up. If not, I think we have plenty to talk about, right? But if you see somebody coming in, let me know. Okay. So I have, right now I have the audit area, and I'm not going to spend too much time on the audit area, but let me just review a bit for you. Is everybody up to date on their groups? Okay, so put a note here, what I'm talking about. And you can put a note here. What's the difference between peer-to-peer and centralization? Who can tell me? Who's ever heard of peer-to-peer versus centralization? Let's think about, let's think about Gmail, right? How many people have used Gmail before? Okay? Gmail, when you're doing Gmail, where is the server in Gmail? Who owns that? Who owns the server? Who hosts Gmail? Google, right? So what Google does, it's centralized, and each of its individuals that have accounts, it then shares the information. Peer-to-peer means one computer to another computer communicate just directly. That's peer-to-peer. Centralization would mean you could think about it as I as the instructor and I communicate to each of you, right? That could be like centralized. Peer-to-peer would be what in this class? What would peer? Everybody understand what centralization? I, the instructor, speak to each of you and send that information out. What would peer-to-peer be? basically peer-to-peer is that one group would then communicate with another group. So what I want to do we have individuals within one group that look at it at another group. So what I want to do is have peer-to-peers in the beginning of group 1 and group 2 communicating, group 3 and group 4 communicating, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and 9 and 10. Now, what we talked about before was what? We want to be consistent. So what should be on the front page, Lexi? What group are you in?
4.
Okay, you're
3.
3. So you're in group 3 here that we said, right? That group 3, we said that, what did we want? We wanted 3 bits of information here. We wanted name, what was the second column? Email, and what else?
Phone numbers.
And phone numbers. So we don't have to do this. I don't need to go with each group. That should be in everybody's group. And you can look among your own group and you can look at your peer group and give them feedback on what's missing. Everybody with me here? And it's the same thing that once I'm in a group, right, let me just even start in group 1. I have Wayne, and then where's Cole? Is Cole here?
Not that cool.
Okay, not this Cole, okay? So we have to see here, you're Coleman or what?
No.
Okay, so which group are you in?
Group 5.
Group 5. So if I look in group 5 then here, this is done correctly, and I look in group 5 here, right, I have a collaboration folder, and what should we see in the collaboration folder is I should see then everybody have the collaboration software you did, the pros and the cons of each of these. And then if I go back in the screencasting folder, I should have everybody's screencasting program with your name, your individual name, and the tutorial you did with the pros and cons. That should be in everybody's folder. Did you get it?
Yes.
Perfect.
He texted us a code and we told him the number, but what is it going to do?
Okay, but perfect. We'll talk about it in a second.
Is he gonna text us?
No, we'll talk about it. So basically, and I'll get to it in a moment. So basically, what we're going to do is check to see. This is an excellent group. What group is this again?
Group 5.
Group 5. Excellent. Very good. So you're going to see here that you should use group 5 as your model. Excellent. And Allie was asking me, how are we going to get graded? Because everybody, even though you love being with me, right? Every week, there's still behind the back of your mind is, what grade am I going to get? Everybody wants to do well. I'm in a position here that I'm a full professor, and what I want to do is I want to be able then to give you a grade in which you deserve, that you earn. And one of the things here is on a weekly basis, you'll be checking yourself, but things like this are counting towards your assignments, and also you giving feedback to other groups. And what I talked about when we talked about collaboration is what you can get extra in terms of helping others within your group and your peer group to help you, because I want to get everybody up and running. And I don't want to spend a lot of time going into the minutia. You can do that yourselves, right? Priscilla, you can do that. You can check if you've done it. You can check on your peer. You can help them if they're having issues. But my group 5 here did an excellent job in terms of citing the pros, the cons, the idea of what's the difference between file and item. And this is in terms of their issues. Everybody with me? So by the end, what I suggest is many of you start. If you don't have that, is meet at the end. We're going to end early, and everybody I know is going to be tired, and you want to rush out. And I heard there was Drake here, right? And everybody's still coming down from that. And I heard rumors had it he was going to come here. I don't know why he's not here yet, right? Maybe that. Huh?
Oh, is that why you had us call the guy?
Right. Somebody's going to text you that he's going to come. Okay, so that maybe that's rumors, right? I should have him come every week, right? So anyway, so in terms here, we'll have more exciting guests. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so that's Uber Eats. Okay, questions? All right, so next time what we'll do too is we'll have somebody in the next, folks, that'll be a good idea too. We're supposed to have additional guest speakers, and when they come, maybe we'll then have somebody here order some food too, since we're here for so long. That'll be a good idea. Remind me, those groups that want to be in charge of refreshments and so forth, let me know and I'll
Well, you should
put the bill,
seriously,
right?
give us time to do that.
Right, so I'll do that at the end. Okay, next. Okay, so one of the things is we talked about the difference between peer-to-peer versus centralization, and we'll talk about it as well in terms of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Is the idea also of peer-to-peer versus centralization. Okay, so we have this part. I'd like you at the end of the class to meet with your peer groups, and then I'll make sure that before you leave at the end of the class that the first part will be done properly. Any questions? Okay, so we have my group 5 available. So let me go to now my regular section. So I'm going to go back to Blackboard. And once I go to Blackboard, I'm going to be looking for KX, the regular section that you should have. And in the regular section, there's a couple of things that I want you to do. I want you to go to course documents. And in course documents, I have PowerPoint. And I say we're going to go over chapter 4. And let me make sure we have chapter as well. Is we have the hardware. And for next week is TG, and TG stands for what?
Thank God.
TG, thank God, and also Tech Guide, okay? So thank God and Tech Guide.
Wait, you're adding another quiz?
I'm going to add a quiz. So I'm going to go to assignments,
That's
and you should have chapter 1, TG1, and chapter 4, I'm going to add TG2. I'm going to edit test options. And what else should I do?
Hit submit.
No, I have to change something before
To
I...
make it viewable.
Right. So I have to do what? Make a link available?
Yes.
click no.
And then I'm going to give it two times for attempts. And just make sure it's there. Is it there for you?
Yeah.
Okay, it's there for you
This is due before next class?
before next class.
The fifth one, right?
Data and TD2.
TG2, which stands for Tech Guide number 2 for software. Okay, let me just download this just to make sure. TG2, that was my assignment. Questions?
So only TG2 or TG2?
TG2 software. Okay? All right. And then the security as well. Where's the marker? Is that going on? And where's the roll? Is that going around too? Okay. Okay. I talk about computer security, I talk about information security. Why are we more vulnerable today? Everybody understand the question? Why are we more vulnerable today? Yes.
Everything we do is on a computer practically.
It's what?
Everything we do is practically on a computer.
And so, why am I more vulnerable? Why am I more vulnerable today than I was, let's say, 20 years ago?
I mean, I guess also
First of all, most of my, in terms of information security, before, if I think about information security, it could be that somebody could break into an office, going and get the files from somebody's desk, right? Or I have something on your desk, I can pick up your phone, right? I can steal your computer equipment, but what else? I can physically go
you can be
and
hacked now.
what?
You can be hacked.
How am I going to be hacked?
Cloud.
Basically, via how are we basically doing this? We have we go via a browser, right? And via browser, via the internet, I can be anywhere in the world and start stealing information, or I can enter your computer, or I can steal your identity. So now we're going to be much more, we're interconnected, we're interdependent now. We can steal a lot more. Basically, we have more and more digital devices. We're on much more often. To be a computer hacker now, they say it's decreasing skill necessary to be a computer hacker. Why is it? I would think more, right? It says here, decreasing skills necessary to be a computer hacker. Why? How can you be a computer hacker? Basically now, you can download software to be a hacker. So basically other companies create that. And also now it's a lot easier. Instead of even shipping drugs, what I can use now is I can steal people's identity. I can do what they call ransomware. Anybody hear about that? Basically, just like I'm going to do ransomware, you can Google it, right? If I do ransomware, it's basically I can take over somebody's computer or somebody's server and prohibit them from entering their own computer and taking out their own, being able to access that and asking for money. And how do they usually ask for money in terms of what kind of payments? Bitcoin, some type of cryptocurrency. Why?
Because it's untraceable.
Well, it's basically not so much as untraceable, we'll talk about it, but it's difficult to find the identity of the person. It's not that it's untraceable, but it's difficult to find the way of the person. And if we look at then the security, if I look on the security, these are 3 areas in which you need to know. Let me make sure that you understand that. You need to know what a threat is. You need to know what exposure means. And also what vulnerability is. A threat then is an information resource that's in danger to the system. Exposure of an information resource is the harm or the loss or the damage that can result in a threat. And vulnerability is the possibility that the system will be harmed. I have unintentional threats to information systems. One of the unintentional threats can be outside threats or internal threats. Outside threats can be just being on the internet, so I can have my hackers, unauthorized users, what we call DOS. What's DOS stand for? Denial of service. I can have malware, which is viruses, natural disasters, man-made, fire, and so forth. These are my outside threats, and many times my inside threats can be even more dangerous, depending on what kind of systems, and that is by my employees, other insiders, hardware threats. So these are my hardware versus my inside threats and my outside threats. Any questions? Pretty straightforward, right? So I have those outside threats. I can have human errors. And in human errors, that's just that I just put my password. You know, I hate all those passwords to change it. So what do I do next to my desk? I have a little sticky notes, and I have my password there. I'm careless. Social engineering. What's social engineering? Brittany? Good. What's social engineering? Yes, you can.
Is an attack in which the are using social skills to trick or manipulate legitimate employees into providing confidential company information such as passwords.
Okay, in your own words, what's social engineering?
So like going in and stealing information.
Anybody know what schmoozing is? What is it, like, Lexi?
It's just like when you scum off of somebody.
Well, basically, it's when I'm starting to relate, right? And I say, oh, Lexi, how you doing? Oh, you have such a cute outfit, right? You know, why don't we go out to lunch? Yeah, and so we go out to lunch, we befriend each other, and as I'm going out to lunch, I tell Jessie, let's go out together, and Jessie just takes a little memory stick and puts it on her computer and starts downloading. Or she's not available, and I said, let's go, and then I can call up Lexi, and I said, Lexi, you remember we went out to lunch, and we had a good time? By the way, you know, do you mind, I don't have my password, can I use your computer? Or I have Jesse call up Lexi and he says, you know, I'm part of IT. We're doing a test right now, and it seems like we're having problems on the line, right? I'm not able to get in. Your username is Lexi, probably at miami.edu, and your password, we're going to have to change it. So what's your old password? And we start doing types of things where they're talking about social engineering to be able to connect with a number of people. So that's social engineering and deliberate threats to information systems. You can read that as well as to identify those threats of vandalism. And then this is really big, is identity theft. Anybody ever hear about identity theft, that they go in and basically take over, they steal your mail or they take over your systems? Now, let me go back to my Blackboard. And let's go to the web links. Everybody go to your web links in Blackboard. And on my web links, if I go all the way down, everybody hear of cryptocurrency? Everybody hear of Bitcoin? Okay. In Bitcoin, we have what we call a wallet. Everybody knows your own wallet, right? Check to see your wallet, but we have a digital wallet. And in Bitcoin, people have a wallet to hold their Bitcoins. Who has anybody have any Bitcoins? George, you have a wallet?
Yeah.
And where is that wallet stored?
Whatever app on my phone.
You have an app on your phone, and how do you get to that?
Put in a password.
Put in a password, and how long is that password? Is it a few characters?
It's kind of long,
It's kind of long, right? And why is it kind of long?
so that it's not easy to
It's not easy to
access.
break on terms of the password. So what they've done now is all this cryptocurrency, it's in the beginning stage. You think it's 100% secure.
It probably isn't.
It probably isn't, right? Since anything digital is hackable, right? So all this cryptocurrency is also more vulnerable. And there's a type of cryptocurrency that instead of Bitcoin, they call it lumens. There's many types of cryptocurrency. And look at this. It says stolen lumens black wallet. And if I click on it, this is a small little theft that says $400,000 stolen in Lumen's black wallet theft. Another day, another theft in the world of cryptocurrency wallets. And based on those wallets, this says, over the weekend, as reported by Bleeping Computer, don't you love that name? Bleeping Computer, a DNS server. So now we got to figure out what's a server. A server is a computer that's going to host accounts. What's DNS? And Brian, if you look at me, what does that mean? Not good, right? So what's a DNS?
Domain name system.
A domain. What is it? Code? What is it?
I remember going over
DNS. Coleman, what's a DNS? A DNS server.
Domain name system.
A domain name system. So what the heck does that mean? So Faith, what does that mean? A domain name system.
Decentralized naming system.
A decentralized naming system, and what does that mean? Anybody hear of a domain name? Who knows what a domain name is? What's a domain name?
I just know
What? Give me an example of a domain name.
Google.com.
Google.com. What about in this institution?
Okay.
Miami.edu, right? All of these are domain names, and what is basically behind a domain name? You can put this in your notes. Behind a domain name is basically an IP address. And remember we talked about the first stage, we talked about IP, Estella? IP, what does IP stand for? Besides intellectual property. Nobody was born with this, right? So Leah, what's IP? An IP address. An internet protocol. What does it mean, internet protocol? It's rules and regulations via the internet. And basically, every then site on the internet has an address to it. Just like if I wanted to see where you live, you have an address, and attached to your address is your name. An address is hard to kind of keep up with. So what they do with people that make their name that it's easier to remember. So Microsoft.com or Google.com or Apple.com or Gmail.com or Facebook.com is easier to remember for you than it is the address. And so what we have is we have a server that has all the addresses with the then relevant name to it. The name to the public. Everybody clear on that? So really behind it is addresses. So basically, as reported, a DNS server connected to the domain of the browser-based wallet application was compromised. And what does it mean that it was compromised? It basically, someone went in there and it was vulnerable, and what happened? There were threats to it. And those threats, they say, the Stellar Lumen cryptocurrency was the target of the attack by redirecting the DNS server to a server controlled by the hacker. So what does it sound like it is, Frankie? So that DNS by lumens, what happens is everything that went there, we directed it, let's say me and you were in cahoots, we directed to our server. Okay? And then when the theft took place, over $400,000 was contained in the attacker's wallet. At the time of writing, roughly $48,000 had been left following a number of transfer. According then, the exploit used was a code injection. Write that down, code injection. The exploit, the server was vulnerable, and what they did, Frankie and I, let's say, we said, you know what, let's do a code injection. And code injection here, we do an algorithm. You remember we talked about algorithms? You remember we talked about doing rules. Brittany, you've done programming, some programming, right? So we can just do like an if statement. If something occurs, then something then will happen. So Frankie, me and you are in cahoots. Let's say if then there's more than, let's say, 20 of these lumens, then what do we want to do, Frankie? Maybe bring it over to our server. So what they do here was held by you. You were automatically, so if over 20 lumens was held by users, you see that, Brittany? That's basically code. The funds were automatically transferred over to the attacker's wallet. Who's never had programming before? Raise your hand.
Never.
Never. Okay, so who wants to? Okay, so Alex, you've never had programming, so I'm going to make you a programmer. Okay? So what are we looking at here? Let's look at this. This is a function that the name of the function is called what, Alex?
Display wallet.
Display wallet. And within the function, we say in that function, display wallet, what do you think this means? It says if get wallet lumens count greater than 20, what does that mean?
Like if you get in there, like take more than 20.
If we find more than 20 lumens, right? Basically, what do we want to do? That's my if statement. And then it says what? Get the lumens. And what destination do you want to do? Look at this, George. What does this look like?
Yes.
It basically almost looks like my password of my system. So what is it when we say, what did I say about the code? What was that code called? When I injected it, what's it called? Injected code. This is my, do you see that, Blake? This is my injected code. They go ahead, they get access to the server, the original server, inject that code, so every time somebody accumulates more than 20 lumens, get it, and put it into my Frankie and mine server. That's how they do it. Now they can do this not only in cryptocurrencies, they can do it in other kind of banking systems and so forth, other kind of systems that they do. And this pushes it to a different wallet. So the DNS hijacked a black wallet injected code. If you had over 20 lumens, it pushed them to a different wallet. Alerts and warnings were quickly posted in a vain attempt to warn users and prevent them from logging into the domain, which triggered the exploit. So basically you had the domain, you triggered it and so forth. So there are thousands of these cryptocurrencies out there, and basically we think that they're secure, but just like anything else that's digital, it's hackable. And one of the things is, how do you refrain from doing those and how you do it? You can see that they do it the Russians do it, the Chinese do it, everyone is doing it, the Americans are doing it, Iranians and so forth are doing it in terms of they're hacking into what we call IoT. And what's IoT? The Internet of Things, right? So when they were doing like the nuclear facilities in Iran, there were supposedly countries going in and hacking it and putting it into the chip systems. And you remember we talk about security systems and so forth. Well, even within those security systems, it's hackable. So even when you think it's the right signature, it isn't. Questions? Did you have a question?
No, I was
George?
just gonna say like a way to keep it more safe, which I have like some of my cryptocurrencies and it's like a hardware, like flash drive.
Right. So
or-
basically you remove that, you take it off the internet,
Yeah.
and then maybe even in a bank, in a safe deposit bank. You know, just like anything else that you think about, you need backup and recovery systems too. Everybody with me? So I just wanted to show you in terms of what we were doing, that you can think about these systems that are capable to do that. Okay? And the other part of what I'd like you to realize is for next week as well, is start thinking about this blockchain for business. And basically, we've all kind of heard about Bitcoin, even though maybe we haven't traded in it and so forth. We have it. But what's the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain? Is there a difference? Are they the same? What do you think, Lindsay? And if you don't know, you can say in this class you don't know. No idea. So one of the things that I want to do is these two articles of the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain, what are the applications that you should go over for next week. And you can see the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain. The first one for business is the first thing that they're not the same thing, and they are different, but they're closely related. And when Bitcoin was released, it was released as open source code. So you want to put that in your notes here. Open source code. And code are instructions to the computer, right? And what's open source code? Like,
Anybody can make alterations to it.
right, first of all, that it's open to the public. Open source code is that it's all open to the public, and blockchain was wrapped together within that solution, and basically Bitcoin was the most popular as one of the first applications of blockchain. So blockchain is much broader. Bitcoin is an application to blockchain. And blockchain has been used in other industries. It's been used in healthcare, it's been used in finance, it's been used in energy. There are several industries that blockchain has been used. And this Bitcoin then in 2008, when it was started, was the beginning of this. And this is the key. Bitcoin, you can put this in your notes and you can read this afterwards. Is a distributed ledger. Bitcoin and blockchain are developed as a distributed ledger. There's no, who has taken an accounting course before? You remember a general ledger? Who remembers a general ledger? When I'm dealing with a general ledger, the general ledger is done by what? A company. And it isn't distributed to everyone, but it states as individual. This is a distributed ledger on a peer-to-peer network. Remember we talked about peer-to-peer?
I'm confused what that is.
Okay, what is what? Peer-to-peer? Peer-to-peer means, let's say this, Allie. Peer-to-peer means when I send you something, I'm sending it directly to you. We don't have an intermediary. Think about if I wanted to send you money. Now if I wanted to send you money, where's my money stored?
In a cloud
No, now. Where's it stored now? Not cryptocurrency. I want to send you $100 in a bank. My bank is my intermediary. I have to go to the bank, and from my bank it's sent to you. In a peer-to-peer, we're not going to have that intermediary. That intermediary of the bank has been put across. So we don't have like the middle one in between. That's why in the beginning banks were fearful of this too.
Is that like a direct deposit almost? You know?
Well, it's direct deposit, but the direct deposit goes to your bank, and what do you have to do? I have to take it out of my bank. Still, when I have the employer, let's say my employer does direct deposit, doesn't give it to me directly.
So like Venmo, be
It would, right. So in that case of a peer-to-peer, you think about it almost like micro-lending. So what it is, the underpinning then of that technology maintains in the Bitcoin, you can do this. And on your own, for next week, this is a really nice short little video where you can see here.
As we explore the technology behind blockchain, it is important to understand what role Bitcoin plays.
See.
Bitcoin is a digital currency launched in 2009 with the intention of...
See, and so you can see here, and notice who put this out. IBM. Why the heck does IBM want to get involved with this? Who has any clue? IBM put this out. What does IBM have to do with this? Like,
They just want to educate people about blockchains.
but why?
Applications.
Not just for the goodness of their heart.
No,
Why?
they're developing their own.
They're basically trying to develop software and hardware to be on this blockchain technology. So what's interesting here, they're going to be able to do this blockchain, right, with the intention of simplifying by bypassing then governments, bypassing networks. And what blockchain then is doing, the underlying technology of blockchain, it is also peer-to-peer, distributed. So what the blockchain is a database, you can think about it, where data is stored of transaction records. So a blockchain is a database or a ledger of records. And what it really works out, blockchains, if I have transactions. And what blockchain eliminates, think about it, if you want to buy, where's going to be blockchain really big? In real estate. Because what are you doing in real estate? Where's my markers going around? Did I have a marker going around? Let's not sit on it. Brian, you want to move on it? You have a name tag over there? So use your dark, yes? So I can see, everybody else can see front and back. So I got so many Brians. I got a Brian here. Who else? I got a Brian here. I got Brian here. So I got BB, and so we can do it. So this Brian and this one and yours. So what I have here is I have this distributor across peer-to-peer network, and when we say one-to-one, without any basically what I'm saying here, Alex, without a central authority. I don't have, Alex, the bank in the middle anymore. It's going to be peer-to-peer, and what everyone's going to do is the network participants then agree on the validity of those transactions before they're recorded. We have what they call a consensus, and it's achieved through mining. Who's ever heard of mining? Bitcoin mining. They mine basically your ways. And basically what they're doing is they're going to be mining for the legitimacy of their transactions. So, this really works, blockchain really works well on assets, tangible assets. So you can do it if I want to buy and sell cars. So basically then if I want to buy and sell cars, I want to buy and sell real estate, food products, intangibles like securities. So when you think about like finance, are all cases in which blockchain is used. So traditionally, identity over anonymity is Bitcoin thrives due to its anonymity. So why did the drug dealers and why did the criminals like Bitcoin and why does ransomware like Bitcoin? Because it thrives on what? It doesn't say, hey, Frankie and Dr. Rush want to inject this code to us. Please send it to our bank account number, Citibank in Coral Gables, US 1, corner of US 1 right there. You know the Citibank? That we don't let them know that, right? My checking account number. So this is where they thrive. And then on the other hand, you remember we had KYC. What's KYC? Sounds like Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Doesn't it? Know your customer. Especially after, you remember, the patriotic terrorism, what the United States and other people said is that when you're in a bank, you have to know your customer, you have to show your IDs and so forth. So now they have something called AML, anti-money laundering compliance, that they have to know exactly who their customers are. So blockchain does not prevent you, and you can put this in your notes, blockchain does not prevent you to have anonymity. You can make blockchain knowing who your customers are. It's just that in the cryptocurrencies, you're able to do that. And consensus is achieved, so this is a key word here. Consensus in the blockchain through a process of selective endorsement. There's something called selective endorsement, and that is consensus. So I'd like you for next week to read about this, and then these two articles, and then
Where do we get that article?
it's the end, it's on my web links of my course documents. The one that I'd like you to read is the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain, and you can go through the tutorial. And also, blockchain, what are the examples? And notice this, what is blockchain? The most disruptive tech in decades, the distributed ledger. Did we talk about distributed ledger? So let me just turn this over. We don't need that. You can listen to these guys. But you can see here the distributed ledger technology, better known as blockchain, has the potential, and notice its potential, to eliminate huge amounts of record keeping, save money, and disrupt IT in ways not seen since the internet arrived. And notice what it says, blockchain is poised to change IT in the same way open source software did a century ago. And they're rolling out pilot studies. And you see these questions here, Lindsay and Faye? What is blockchain? What does blockchain do? How secure is blockchain? Private versus public. Which industries use blockchain? And you see here blockchain for healthcare. So I would like you, in the table of contents of that last article, is to be prepared to answer all those questions. You remember I said there are going to be two types of questions on the test? One from the book and one from the discussion in the class. These are excellent questions for the open-ended. I'll go into it more in detail, but when I said about kind of like the essay, is what is blockchain and what are some of the industries used? And if I look at blockchain for healthcare, Faith, look at this. If I click on this, blockchain for healthcare, there's one called Mint Health. See that, Lindsay? Mint Health? And if I go to Mint Health empowers patients to take control of their health and data via blockchain technology. It sounds very similar to what other company we talked about? P-Toy. The only difference here, anybody ever go to the gym? Anybody ever go to the wellness center, right, the gym? Why do you go? To be healthy, right? To be able, and why do you think health insurance companies would want you to go?
If you're healthy, it saves them money.
Saves them money, reduces the cost. Remember, for business, I told you two things that we need to figure out. How to increase our revenues or do what? Lower costs. If I can be a business and do hopefully two of those things, then I'm doing well. Right? So health insurance companies, what are they saying to do? Empower patients to take control of their health data via blockchain technology. So what this Mint Health is saying, guess what? We'll work with some insurers and we'll put up a coin where, for instance, every time you work out, I'm going to get incentivized not by just feeling good, but what? Getting the coins and selling the coins. So it's interesting that these are incentive tokens, and they're calling it, instead of vitamins, they're calling it vitamins. And gamification to engage patients in their journey to better health. Machine learning on a growing patient database to help identify predictors of disease and health. So they're creating a patient engagement platform for the initialization of steps for healthcare, incentivizing them. So then you could look at this company, Mint Health, IO, and connecting, and they're going to be doing that. So you see in terms of your project, what your project could be doing is evaluating healthcare applications for blockchain, and then later on, once you had the ideas, then you could create an additional one. Right? So in this case, you can see Mint Health is a global. Look, now when we read these commercials, I call them commercials, right? But from these companies, decentralized that aligns healthcare stakeholders around the goal to improve the clinical outcomes, lower costs, and then when I go learn more, basically what they're going to do here, global decentralized stakeholders. They tell me we got these doctors here and going to be putting in a bunch of people hoping to make millions, right? Right in here in this new technology, right? That'll give me their ways to do it. of my advisors, my groups, about them. And what I'd like you to do is in the beginning is maybe even look at areas that you're interested in, whether it be advertising, finance, to see what's being done in blockchain. And I just gave you that example that you can read through, that you can see it's just not even that P-toy, that they basically were looking like they didn't graduate that long ago, right? Those guys from Patient Tory and having now raised millions of dollars. Anybody hear of Kodak? Remember that old company? Why did you hear about it? It used to be in film, not even digital, right? It used to be an old film, 35 millimeter kind of thing. Let's go to the internet. Right? And let's go to Yahoo. Let's go to finance.yahoo.com. And I'm going to look for Kodak. Let's see, is that Kodak? Let's see here. This is Eastman Kodak. And let me just look at 1 month. Look at here, right? And all of a sudden, look where the stock market went, right up here. Everybody see that? From here all the way up there. What happened, and what date is this? This is January 10th. My question to you is, what happened? That was like a dead stop, right? Whoever sees, you don't go and see, I want to buy a Kodak camera. Who has a Kodak camera? Nobody, right? Or it's a Kodak film. Who's doing any of that? What happened in the beginning of January for Kodak? Let's research it. What happened to Kodak? What had happened to Kodak, right? Look at this. Cryptocurrency bet drives Eastman Kodak Company. Look how much percent higher. What percent? 156% in January. Kodak made a splash in January, but the shine may be already wearing down. But the idea is Kodak decided we're going to be what? We're going to be a cryptocurrency based on images. And if you have photos, send your photos and we'll embed something within that digital photos, and every time anybody wants to use your photos, what do you get? Cryptocurrency. And notice 156%. Anything that smells like, right? Sniffs like that. After a while, we don't know how long that's going to last, though. And then, guess what the news is? And then it went down. Guess what the news is now? Kodak coin executive barred from serving as an officer in the German companies. Right? And then you see the Spotlight Futures, Bitcoin, has plans. And then basically, look at this. Kodak delays initial coin offering. So as soon as they say, hey, wait a minute, we're not going to offer it so soon, we have to check with our investors and so forth, we have problems. But you see how it kind of goes all of a sudden now Kodak. Advertising starts to do with Kodak, with cryptocurrencies. Okay, so we're set with this. So one assignment is to do what, William? Is to do the quiz for TG2, which is the software. The other assignment is to look through those last 2 articles of cryptocurrency and look to see, start doing some research on interest that you have. Where's the marker? Brian? And Brianna? How do you pronounce your name? Bren. So mark on here, Bren. Okay. All right. So everybody good? Okay, next. Next, what did I say? So I talked about peer-to-peer, So Ali, you understand now peer-to-peer, and then basically it's taking away that intermediary. So basically, if I think about it in peer-to-peer, then you don't have to have my approval. Basically, think about the audit area is peer-to-peer. You don't need my permission, right, to upload. You don't need my permission to put in another user. Just think about that. In my section, I'm centralized, right? You don't have permission to upload. You don't have permission to add a new user. But in your section, it's basically peer-to-peer with all your peers. Okay? Computer information system, and then what's the next one? I said ATS, which stands for what? Automated trading systems. So, that's what we're going to look at next. So, let me go to where I was before, so I can close this. Let me close some of these. Now I want to go to ninjatrader.com. Everybody have that? Let me put this on the notes. ninjatrader.com. And it says award-winning platform plus low-cost futures broker. So this is a platform for automated trading systems plus a brokerage account. Who are my finance managers? Okay. So this would be good. You can take the lead. My finance majors can take the lead on this. We're going to not use their brokerage account. We're going to just use their platform. And why do I like their platform? And I wanted to put this in perspective, like from what we were talking about before. The reason why I want to use this platform is it's free, and we can do it in simulation mode for the class. And if I go down, everybody with me here? Go to ninjatrader.com. Your email, and you can download now, free to use. Do you want free live market data? You say no. Everybody put in your notes there, Lindsay and Faith, when it says, do you want free live market data? I don't want live, so I'm just going to say for right now, no.
You said you can't do this on Mac?
You need Windows to use this. So either you can use a Windows machine, or you can create a virtual machine, or you can do something like Parallels or Boot Camp to use Windows. You can use it as a group. So if one person puts it on their machine, you can work together as a group. Okay? So, in this case, everybody with me? So write this down in your notes here. There's NinjaTrader 7 and NinjaTrader 8. We're going to start off with 7. And the reason we're going to start off with 7 is because there are a number of strategies. There are more strategies available. There's more open source. Look how we're using these terms. There are more open source strategies available in 7 than there are in 8. But sometimes later on, I'll show you 8 is more sophisticated. And when I do that, I'll create that. So when I talk about this, I'm going to go to NinjaTrader 7. And then you can download that. Okay? I'm not right now going to select it because I have it on my machine already. Okay? Questions? How are we doing, Andrea? Okay?
Yeah, I have maps.
What?
I have a map.
So you're going to need to get find a Windows to install that, either on your own machine or get with your group and we'll see. Okay? Questions? Okay, now.
Question.
Yes.
If we don't have a Windows, could we do it, would we not be able to download it on the school computer?
Try it. Try it.
Okay.
And then, do me a favor and let me know if you have issues, and then we'll try to get them to install it.
Okay.
We'll get them install it on the school's computer, okay? So if you can be so kind and then email me,
Yeah.
try it like early on this, early on in this week. See if you can do it. And then if you're having issues, email me and then we'll try to get the folks there to install it. At least install it on some of the machines.
Okay.
Beautiful question. That's why we want to support each other. And that's what I want to encourage us to do, is to try to help encourage to support each other. Okay. So let me just show you how it works. You see here NinjaTrader 7 I have here, so let's see if it works. And guess what? Everything always doesn't work all the time. We'll see. I may have too many things. Okay, so it comes up, and what does it say right here? Simulated trading. So put in your notes here, we want simulated trading. We want to simulate what it is. How did the stock market do today?
Atrocious.
Hmm?
It's down,
Down, how much?
1,000 points.
1,000 point. What percentage?
5
Around 5%. Why did it go down so much?
market.
So quickly? What percentage of trades are done by the computer?
Probably 90% of the daily flow.
About 90%. And what did all these algorithms, what did they probably have is when the market is going down a certain percentage point, what do you think the algorithm says to do? Sell. And all of them are selling at the same time, so it almost accelerates that down position. And can you make money on that down position? If we're betting on it going down, you can make money going down as you can making going up. So a lot of times, as it's going down, it may be other algorithms coming in and saying, hey, I want to short, because guess what? I bet you now that it's going down quite a bit, it's going to even accelerate more. And what you have is you have in the machine, you have people then writing the algorithms or the rules to those systems. And what I want to show you here in terms of all these is how do you write these rules. We'll start off with very simple, and those of you that want to pursue it in more depth can take that on as your project. So you see, just like Lindsay and Faith, we were talking about that you wanted to concentrate on the healthcare. There may be others that want to concentrate on those. And then we can even take healthcare companies and see how they're doing. So all around, your project can be all focused around the healthcare. When I get this first, and you can put this on the notes here, and I'm also recording this, on that first screen where it says get connected, I want to skip. So put that in your notes. When you see in NinjaTrader 7, when it says get connected, skip. I had this already, so I'm just going to close this because you're not going to get this the first time. And you'll see here, and then you can put this in your notes, that you get something called a control center. And by the way, Ninja Trader has a number of tutorials on YouTube and others that will do it as well as when I'm showing you. And when you do it, those people that succeed, one of the nice things is to do what, Alex, is do a screencast, or where I get stuck, screencast that as well. And then you can throw it out to your peers and say, this is where I got stuck. Rather, it didn't work for me. And once you get it, Alex, you say, well, what didn't work? Exactly, oh, you forgot this. Simple. Isn't that wonderful? Hopefully you're as excited as I am. Okay, so Frankie, the first thing I want to do is I want to connect. Everybody hear that? I want to connect to free data. And what we're going to do right now is do end of day data. Later on we can do tick by tick and just see how the day went. But right now you can put in your notes here, we want to connect to end of data. So how do I get to the end of data? I go File. And Lexi, how do you think I could connect? Connect, great, Lexi. So I want to do connect, and I want, you remember I said I was cheap? And I like what?
Free things.
Free things. So what should I connect to then, Lexi? You're on a roll.
The simulated one?
Where does it say
Oh,
free?
wait, no, connect, end of day free.
Right. So I want kinetic, end of day free. And if I hear a sound and I see green, what does it mean, Lexi? You're on a roll.
It means that you're connected.
I'm
and
connected.
Started.
Okay. And now I want to go to a new chart. So where do I go, Lexi?
No.
New, okay? So I'm going to go File, New, and I want to go to a chart. Where do I go?
Chart.
Chart, wow. Okay, everything's easy, right? When you know it. Okay, so I want to go File, New. I want to go File, New, and I want to go to Chart. Okay, so I have a chart here, and I can do a lot of different ways. And you can see here, I have Forex, which is what? Who knows what Forex is? Like, what's Forex? Foreign exchange. It means that I want to trade, for instance, U.S. dollars to euros, euros to yen to Swiss franc, but we don't want to do that right now. I want to do I'm going to do regular stocks, so I can do the Dow 30 or NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500. So I can do any of these stocks. I'm going to start off with one stock, simple. So I'm going to go to the Dow 30. And these are all the symbols of the Dow. That first one looks like what?
Apple.
Apple, right? And BA. Somebody look under the symbol. What's BA?
Bank of America.
Look at it. What is a BA? Look for symbol BA. What is symbol BA? Stella, what's symbol BA?
But
Okay, we got Bank of America, British Airways,
Yay.
BA.
the
BA symbol. Boeing.
Boeing Company.
Boeing Company. So we're making. So the thing is, we're not born with this, so it's Boeing. Okay, so you almost think of it. It sounds like Bank of America. It sounds like British Airways, right? And BA, and you have Boeing. Okay. So let's start with Apple. Okay, if I start with Apple, what do I need to do? I need to click here. And you see here new, Lexi? You
Yeah.
see here new? So anytime I'm going to try to get a symbol in, I always have to press new. So when I want to get a symbol in, I want to press new, and I have here new. Okay, and it says, you can see this, it says, you can see here that it says what? I have here APPL daily, right? So I'm able then to bring that up daily. And then we can think about it. These are what I call in development terms, these are my attributes to my objects. And in my attributes to my topic, I want to make sure and put this in your notes. This is important. By default, you sometimes don't get it. I want it, what was, when I downloaded Lexi, what was it? Was it end of day or was minute by minute? What was it?
End of day.
End of day, so it's daily. So put this in your notes here, that my type, right, where I have then my type should then say daily. So my type should say day. So if I bring this down, you see how it says tick by tick minute? This should say day. See that? And then I have a number of things that say true, false, or whatever. And now this looks okay to me, so what should I do, Lexi?
Okay.
Okay. So, this is the stock of Apple. Look what it's done lately. What trend does that look like? Down, down, down. My downtrend, right?
Why?
Why? Why? There could be a number of reasons why. One is today was a horrible day, so everything kind of went down, so that's down. What other reasons? Anybody have any other reasons? They missed earnings, basically. You know, even though, who has an iPhone 10?
Yeah, it's not good.
Who does not have an iPhone 10? How many people didn't buy the iPhone 10? Right there. That tells you, right? And who has iPhone? Everybody can say that, most people can say they have iPhones, but who bought that iPhone 10 and what was the reason you didn't buy that iPhone? Is the cost that it seemed like, is it worth that $1,000, right? So that may be other things, maybe other reasons on the earnings disappointed, and maybe a number of other reasons. So this went down. After the fact, guess what? So if we were looking together, and let me do this. You see this little pointer here, this cursor?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this cursor and I'm going to make it crosshairs. So I can see, after the fact, I can see, guess what? Right at this point, Estella, me and you should buy, and then we should sell around here, right? And then I think, you know, maybe we'll short until here, shorting, and then maybe we'll buy here and we'll sell here. After the fact, that's easy, and then I can go back and I can see all this backwards, right? One is I have to look at it, and two, what do I know from before? So what we're going to be looking at is strategies where the computer will buy and sell, and we'll make adjustments to that. And then what the hard thing is, not to know what they did necessarily always in the past, but what's going to be in the future. Like what's tomorrow?
We don't know.
We don't know. So one of those things is, and then we can adjust our method. So what I want to show you is what they call is strategies. Strategies are like that injection code that we saw of rules to tell us when we buy and sell. And what we talk about buying, or a lot of times selling, or selling short, meaning that I'm betting it's going to go down again tomorrow. That it still hasn't finished those ways. Now to do that, we have strategies. The way that you have strategies, Lexi, is think about the strategy then here with a dollar sign. You see this little icon with the dollar sign? It's the second to the right, and that's strategies. You can write your own strategies. You can import other strategies. Or you can use what's built in. Everybody understand? You can use their built-in, we can write our own, or we can use other people's strategies. And what some people do is they sell their strategies. If my strategy is so great, let me have others buy it. Or maybe I'll rent it. Software as a service. I can run my strategy. And my strategies, a lot of times you think they're going to be stagnant. No, it's going to change as the market changes. So then I'll probably have to revise my strategy. Or my old strategy from last year, right? Since Trump was elected, what did the market do until January? It was going up. All last year, the whole market went up. Great. Will go up this year? We don't know. We'll need to adjust. So I'm going to do strategies. If I look at the strategies, so Lexi tells me to click on strategies, right? And there's some that are built in here. We're going to start with the built-in ones. Before we can write our own, let's use what they have. So if I look at what they have, the simplest one is called Sample MA Crossover. Put it in your notes here. Sample MA Crossover. So I'm going to click on Sample MA Crossover. And always, Lexi, what did I say? If it's something new, what am I going to press?